Studios in Ontario, California, it's Foobar Sports.
Hey everyone, welcome to Foobar Sports, episode 36 and a half. I'm Josh, and we got Josie on the mix. You can find our episodes on FoobarShow.com or any podcast app, and join us as we record on our Facebook group, Foobar Sports. Well, let's get after it, fellas.
This is 36 and a half, right?
Yeah, this sure is.
Part deux.
We
fucked up last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you know, I thought we were on a roll. We were on such a good roll.
Well, it didn't record, is what happened. I thought I was recording, and I saved it even, but when I reopened the file so that I can then publish it on our hosting site, it was gone. The audio was gone.
and that is exactly how I felt after hearing that.
Pretty much.
God damn it. After all that time working on recording.
You're a loser!
I know.
Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you are dirt! You make me sick, you big baby! Baby want a bottle? A big dirt bottle?
Damn, Hank.
Dirt bottle?
Leave me alone. Just a wee lad.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
Round two.
this is round 2. But, we'll get it right this time. We're going to talk about the things we talked about on the last podcast.
With some updates.
With some updates, you know? So we're going to be current. We're going to be in the now.
Yeah.
So, let's just get after it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get off.
Part 2. Let's just start off by recapping our fantasy football draft.
Right. The one previous to that was the live version that you guys recorded on your phones.
Yes, and going on the way there, it was pretty fun. We had a keg, little mini keg. The food did not do a keg stand
properly.
He just didn't even do it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just like.
So why did he report that he did?
Because come on, man, it was a tiny keg. There's no way he was going to be able to hold himself up on it.
I didn't think so.
And we were not going to be able to hold him up on that, to be precise. Which is why I was advocating for a helmet. So he refused. I didn't want to lift him. That's really what it came down to.
All right, I understand.
And no one knew how to pour out of that goddamn cake. Like,
was it the first time they poured out of a keg?
It
was it
seemed
just
like
the everyday kind of little hose that you get with one of those kegs when you tap it?
Just the normal tap and that little hose. Yeah,
okay.
Nothing all fancy with how you have the actual.
I have the
draw
kegerator.
Tap.
Yeah. So yeah.
Which you could probably use that tap on a regular keg.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Which is a dope tap to have.
But it wouldn't be stationed it wouldn't be stationed upright at all. You'd have to kind of.
You still have to have a pump. You just still have to have a pump and have it on a hose.
Well, the kegerator too also incorporates the CO2 tank so that you always get a nice pour.
Well, that's what's perfect, because that's what we fucking needed at this goddamn draft. Like, no one had the right amount of pumps, so it would just be nothing but
just foam.
Just
head.
All you would have is head, and it's just like, God damn it! Until finally, our Uncle Sal came up to us, and I was about to pour myself a beer. He's like, "Here, mijo, pour me one." I was like, "Damn, all right. Well, you're working hard, like putting up the picture, the name." He was the commissioner, so he has to put up all the names and deal with all of our drunk asses yelling at him, an auctioneer. So I was just like, "All right, fine, cool. Like, I'll give you your, I'll give you your beer, dude." I gave him the perfect pour, the only perfect pour I may add in the entire night, and all the uncles were like, "Oh fuck. Josh knows how to do the perfect. Here, Josh, fill this up for me."
Now you've done it.
Dude, all of a sudden, 10 people came up to me with their cup. Yeah.
DJ No Chill.
DJ No Chill was just like, "Hey, man, pour since you know how to pour well." I'm like, God damn it. I knew I shouldn't have poured for you guys. I set a bad precedent. Now they know I know.
DJ No Chill.
His first appearance on anything Foobar, really.
Anything Foobar.
Along with the rest of your draft guys.
Yes, and there will be more recordings going forward.
Really? All right. Yeah. I encourage it.
See the
they don't have to come here, though, do they?
No. Just see all the fuckery that they do.
all the shit talking?
All the shit talking
that happens.
happens.
Little Josh on the street here. I'm digging this.
Yes, and it will be done just as poorly.
No, I was going to say, at least give us some better audio quality.
As Guillermo in Jimmy Kimmel. Have you seen Guillermo's interviews on Jimmy Kimmel?
They're pretty fucking funny.
Anyway, continuing on with the draft, DJ No Chill had a DJ No Chill moment in
What did
the
he
draft.
do?
He came out in full force, man.
Full on no chill force.
Okay, so to give you guys a little backstory on before what caused him to have this no chill moment.
Okay.
I had a pick for my other cousin who was not there. He was phoning it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I had him on speakerphone and he was drafting, and I actually had him on FaceTime and he was watching the draft.
Oh, okay.
And,
Smart. Yeah.
Making whatever picks he could.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at this point, like there was a point in the draft where his phone just cut out and he just didn't call back because he was going to Vegas and he was checking in to his hotel, so he just couldn't. He just didn't call back, and he's just like,
it was
just
a
draft
momentary
for me.
lapse,
pretty much. So he's just like, just draft for me. I'm like, you motherfucker! Now I got to draft for you too. So towards the end, so our limit on wide receivers in the league is 5. I didn't listen to that. There was a moment I had already picked my 5, then I picked my running back, then I picked my defense.
Where have you been overserved at this point?
Yes,
Yeah?
and had a few dabs since we had a dab break at halftime, which was fantastic, by the way. The dab break did not help.
I am shocked and appalled.
I know, right? So we have so I'm picking next, and I'm like, oh crap, this wide receiver is supposed to be good. Like he looked good in free agent in preseason. So I picked James Washington from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, it wasn't until 2 picks later that someone finally said something. It was just like,
Was it
hey,
DJ No Chill?
It was DJ No. Well, no, it was one of the uncles like, hey, Josh has 6 wide receivers. And then I looked, I'm like, hey, yeah, uncle, I have 6 wide receivers. Like, fuck. Let's redraft. Yeah. And then
how many people have chosen after you made that 6th decision?
2 other people.
Oh, okay.
2 other people had chosen. With the other person was the phone person.
Okay.
So we could have just fixed that right then and there.
Okay.
And the person before that was my Uncle Chino, or the Borrachos is his team name,
Right.
which is very.
How much time has passed since you started?
Like 15 minutes.
What?
Oh, in
Not since
the
you
actual
started.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we're like hours in.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah, we're
like
on
it.
hour
If you're like
2 or
on your
3.
6th wide receiver,
Yeah, we're on
I'm sure some fuckery has happened by now.
This is in round 12. This is like round 12, and each round, like everyone has 2 minutes a pick, and there's
Out of how
12 picks
many?
in a round.
So half hour
So
around?
a half hour around,
Good
pretty
God.
much, dude. So we're already at like hour
With the
3
keg
or
on
4.
hand.
With the keg on hand, we killed the keg. We did kill the keg. Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks, noob.
No, that's Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Oh, that is Mr. Poopy Butthole. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Again, round 12, I was just like, look, I'll repick. It's fine, like whatever. And then DJ No Chill was just like, no, fuck it. Let him have it. Let him keep it. Now he's fucked. Now he can't do anything about it. And then there's like a bunch of other people, including the Foo, who wanted that particular player. And we're just
Who
like,
got him?
And who didn't get him? They're like, dude, what the fuck? I wanted to draft him. Let's repick. Like, that's fucked up. This sucks. And then I'm like, dude, let's repick if everyone wants to repick. And the DJ No Chill's like, no.
Girl, no. No. Girl, no.
Exactly. That is exactly.
That's
All of a
how
sudden,
he did it?
All of a sudden, he just broke out in song. Yeah, I know.
The
man,
Foobar.
you're telling this really well.
Foobar
Josie.
microphones were
Yeah.
there. They actually were, but
Yeah.
anyway.
And god damn it, man. I was just like, you know what, man? Whatever. I just want to get this draft over with. I fucked up. My bad. I even owned up to it. So then
I'm just joshing.
So then after all that, at the end, draft's already over. Everyone's already made their picks. And then I just straight up asked my Uncle Sal, I'm like, hey, is it cool if I just drop the guy now? I don't want to start off with an illegal lineup. Like, can I just drop him now and pick up the other guy I actually wanted that no one picked? And he's just like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you can do that right now. That's fine. We'll just take off the name and, the guy will just be a free
Just
agent.
made it all super easy.
Yeah. I'm like, cool. Dude, as soon as DJ No Chill heard that, no, what the fuck's he doing? No, he can't do that.
no.
All of a sudden, everyone got riled up all over again. My dad's like being one of the advocates, like, dude, just let him switch it now. And then after my Uncle Sal's like, all right, whatever, fuck it, I won't change it right now. And so then, like a little after in the party, Uncle Sal's like, hey, don't worry, I'm gonna change it for you.
Just not in front of DJ No Chill.
It's not in front of DJ No Chill. So you guys saw it. Well, unfortunately, you guys did not see it firsthand, DJ No Chill. But next time, I will be recording, and he will have to be on his best behavior.
DJ No Chill. DJ No Chill.
Well, I can't wait.
It was actually his birthday this past weekend, so
Oh, that's
Happy
right.
birthday,
Happy
DJ
birthday.
Noche.
Yeah, fucking. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. So let's just fucking get on to the rest of the goddamn sports world, because damn, we missed. We talked about one of the best, or the best things that's happening right now, which is actually one of the worst things for the Raiders. Their wide receiver, or former wide receiver now, Antonio Brown, caused quite a stir this past weekend. And you know what? I think the person that said it best or recapped it the best was none other than ex-punter Pat McAfee. So, Foo, I believe you have some audio you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, you sent me some audio. It says Pat McAfee was woke.
Antonio Brown got to Oakland. Okay? He went over to Derek Carr's house, dapped him up. I love Derek Carr. Call God. We got a handshake.
Call God.
Then he started practicing with Derek Carr. He was like, wait a minute. This ain't what I thought it was. So he called God. And God said, you got to get the fuck out of Oakland. And Antonio said, that's a lot of money, God. And God said, no, you called me for the answer. And I'm telling you, get the fuck out of there. So Antonio said, bet. He went into a cryotherapy thing barefooted. Said, let me just burn my feet off. They'll cut me from Oakland.
Right.
Nope. Weathered the storm
what?
somehow. You know what? I'm going to say I'm not going to play if I don't have this fucking helmet from 1965.
Leather
Went
and
to
all.
fight Roger Goodell about this thing. Got denied 3 times. They're like, oh, we're going to appeal it. And they're like, well, we've already appealed it. You know,
The NFL would suspend them.
we're going to be just hoping that Goodell would be like, nope, can't play if you're going to wear the helmet. You said it. Then now he's like, you know what? I'm just going to skip mandatory shit, not tell anybody. And when they find me, I'm fucking furious. And then I'm going to go right up to the GM in training camp. I just got here, and tell him I'm going to punch him in the face. Then I'm going to punt a ball, and I'm going to tell him, find me for that, bitch.
Yeah.
And if they don't cut me then, I don't know what else I got to do. I think Antonio Brown is trying to get out of Oakland.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to get out of there.
No.
Then he just goes and signs a 1-year prove-it deal with the Patriots. They re-up him like 10 weeks in because he's buying into the Patriot way. He kept calling God every night, and things came through for him. Tom Brady put him on the TB12 treatment. They got the entire thing. Belichick sits him down on day 1. He's like, what the fuck? And Antonio's like, with his big smile, I was trying to get home, coach. I was just trying to get to here. He's like, you were just trying to get cut? Yeah. That's why you told the GM you were going to punch him in the fucking face? Yeah. That's why you didn't wear shoes in the cryotherapy in negative 100 degrees? Yeah. That's why you took a hot air balloon in there 45 minutes? Yeah. That's why you missed walkthroughs and practices and didn't tell anybody? Yeah. All right, well, fuck it. Yeah, you can play for us for free.
All right, well, fuck it.
That's probably a good summary of everything that went
The
down.
best. See, that's why.
And the
I didn't
dialogue
wanna-
with God, I'm sure, is verbatim.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Bet.
Look, you asked for the solution. You asked for the solution. I'm giving it to you.
Giving it to you. Mysterious ways, I suppose.
Oh god damn! And dude, he. That's why I didn't even attempt. Why even attempt to summarize it when Pat McAfee did such a fantastic job at it? And Foo, guess
It
what?
was an odyssey.
It does not stop there.
What happened now?
I need to hear Pat McAfee's reaction to this because goddamn, he has recently been accused of rape.
What?
Yes, he has a current rape allegation right now. So currently his playing status has been uncertain in the wake of a federal lawsuit filed by former trainer Brittany Taylor, who accused him of raping and sexually assaulting her 3 different times between June 2016 or 17 and May of 2018. So these are reports.
But like rape or like, you know how they changed rape, the definition of rape in this Me Too world.
So that's what's currently under question. So this is a report from Adam Schefter.
Okay.
He said that the NFL has opened an investigation into allegations against Brown, which include an interview with the Patriots receiver and Taylor. So right now, apparently this chick's getting married. She's currently getting married this past weekend.
Okay.
So that's why they're going to interview her after. So Brown is currently eligible to play for the Patriots this upcoming Sunday.
Okay.
And then he may go on the commissioner's exempt list, which would then excuse him from all football activity and pretty much voiding his contract in the meantime until he gets squared away. So he pretty much would not be allowed to play once they start doing interviews and they deem that, all right, look, we need to figure all this shit out. So go ahead and play this weekend. But, bro, we're watching your ass. Because goddamn, he has been a nuisance all fucking summer for the Raiders. And the poor Raiders, man. I never thought I would have sympathy for the Raiders, and I don't like having sympathy for the Raiders. But I'm sorry, Raiders. No, I pity you. I pity you.
I don't.
Oh,
It's fine. You think they'd be used to this kind of thing by now,
right?
I mean, well, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you had a lot of Raiders going out there high off of any kind of crazy
Randy
drug.
Moss, man.
Yeah.
The fuck? Randy Moss was high as a motherfucker. That's why he left Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then at the Raiders, dude, he didn't want it. He was just getting a paycheck, man. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, so I think they can handle it. I think they've developed some kind of callus in Oakland for this kind of situation.
You know what, man? They actually clapped back hard on Monday. On Monday Night Football, dude, they fucking wrecked the Broncos.
They did.
I was watching it with the Foo, and I'm like, you know what, Foo? I can't believe I'm going to say this. This is an actually good Raider game.
It was a good Raider game.
And he was just like, yeah, man. Fucking yeah. I'm just like, Jesus, dude, get out of my face.
Did you see the memes that came out the following day, though?
Yeah.
Fucking backhanded compliments on them?
Well, there was
the one where Leo DiCaprio's coming in and it's like Wolves of Wall Street.
Wolves of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving.
This is how the Raiders fans would be walking into work if they all had jobs.
Oh, yeah. There was another Raider meme from the Antonio Brown allegations of the chick where they gender bent John Gruden's picture, his profile picture for the NFL, and they're all Antonio Brown's accuser in the rape allegation lawsuit. And it was all Jane Gretchen.
Fucking stupid.
One of the guys on the fantasy football league, we have our chat on the WhatsApp. They sent that in there. I'm just like, oh my god, dude! That chat is gold, man. We rip on the Raiders hard. No one. If I were to release the things that were said on this chat, we'd all have to have a lawyer up.
It's just bad.
It's just bad.
Good times.
It is not for public eyes. Not safe for work. That is.
All right.
Oh yeah. So, but we have good football this coming weekend. The Saints are going to be playing the Rams. It's going to be a rematch of the whole pass interference thing. And I still love the clip by Nicole Roby Coleman when he was interviewed. He said, "Look, man, I'm going to tell you this once and one time. I smacked him in the face like a Waffle House frying pan." He's like, I was right there in his face. I knew it was a pass interference. He's like, but I got away with it. So they play that on ESPN all fucking day, every day. Like they overuse that shit to the T. But it's a rematch of that, and both teams have been surprisingly. I think it was like 27-6-1 in like the last 4 years or the last 3 years that they played against each other. So they're the top two teams in the NFC, and it's going to be a bloodbath. I'm not going to make a prediction because the game's already going to be done by this point, but I hope it was a good game.
Which, by the way, Josh, we forgot to mention that we are going to start airing sports on Mondays.
Oh, we are. Oh,
yeah. So Foobar Sports Mondays, Geeking Out Tuesdays, and the regular show on Wednesdays. So anyhow,
so actually, Foo, I wanted to move on to this other story. So recently, in the news, I remember I mentioned this previously that the NCAA had created a rule that in order to be an agent for upcoming NBA prospects, they had to have one of the qualifications was taking a test and also having an agent's license, but also having a bachelor's degree from a accredited university. And a lot of people felt that this was attacking Rich Paul, the agent of LeBron James, who was not a college graduate.
Okay.
He literally just became one of the most powerful agents by being LeBron James' agent, and he doesn't have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
So they were calling this the Rich Paul rule. So it's like they're not really allowing people to just jump into the business. They want only bachelor's degrees people.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's kind of fucked up. if you think about it, because you're kind of closing the door and limiting your job market.
Specifically also in a time where a lot of people who are getting degrees are starting to figure out that it's fucking expensive and almost not worth it if it's going to put you in years and years of debt.
Yeah, and then like in Rich Paul's case, dude, he didn't have the money to go to school. Like, he got lucky by being homies with LeBron James. But
and he built his brand.
Yeah, he worked hard at it.
Yeah.
Same thing with his other guy, his other friend, Maverick Carter, who, dude, is huge. He has a huge media conglomerate now with the whole Uninterrupted, The Shop on HBO. That's actually a pretty good series. I've watched a few of those episodes. It's worth it if you guys have HBO now. Just go ahead and take a look at The Shop. But he's also big on the new NBA 2K20 video game.
Okay.
Like he produced it. So he's pretty in there. So recently the NBA Players Association sent a letter to the NCAA saying that they are united in the belief that the NCAA agent certification process and the rules, regulations, and the guidelines surrounding it are needlessly invasive and onerous and are completely counterproductive to meeting the NCAA's stated purpose in attempting to certify and regulate NBA agents to protect men's basketball student athletes by ensuring that they receive the best possible advice, guidance, feedback from the most experienced and competent agents in the NBA pre-draft process. So it kind of goes on to pretty much chastise them. And one of the bolded statements in here says that while we refuse to subject ourselves to these regulations, our biggest concern is that the process itself undermines the ability of student athletes to truly receive the most competent representation when they are testing the waters. So they can pretty much get like screwed over by, these regular agents. It's like, come on, if they want someone that they trust that doesn't have a actual degree, like let's say their old high school coach is like, pretty good, wants to be their agent or represent them. Or like Kawhi Leonard's Uncle Dennis. I mean, it's limiting it. It just shows that the NCAA is very narrow-minded.
Yeah. Well, they're catering to their base, which is schools too.
Yeah. They're keeping the schools, keeping all the money, and keeping the schools employed and the schools funded.
Yeah.
That's essentially what they're doing.
That's a shame, though. Not everybody needs a degree. If you have a good motor about you and you know what you got to do to get what you got to get, dude, by all means. Like, it doesn't mean you have to spend 4 years in a university. I've been lucky enough to get my bachelor's degree, but I haven't fucking used the goddamn degree. I mean, I'm using it indirectly. I'm a psychology major just because it was one of the easiest things to do to get it. But I mean, I'm in human resources now. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's a form of psychology.
That's why it's indirect, but
still.
But hey, my boss doesn't have a degree.
Dude, it's like these college athletes getting a degree in communications. It's just like, dude, you're just going to be an analyst. You're just setting yourself up to be an analyst at the end.
There's that, or at least just to be good enough to have some interviews with, post-game interviews or locker room interviews.
Start their own.
So you're not just doing, hey man, just got to go 110%.
Yeah,
110% all the way, man.
You know what, man? You know who's one surprisingly just intelligent motherfucker? Rob Gronkowski.
Oh yeah,
that guy is fucking rich. He all of his spokes, I guess he saved all of his money from his contracts. He didn't spend a dime.
I heard he did the Jay Leno thing.
He did the Jay Leno. He didn't spend a dime from any of his contracts. He only spent the money from his endorsements and his TV ads, and he's in a lot.
That was surprising and somewhat refreshing. If for people who don't know what we're referencing on the Jay Leno thing, Jay Leno, when he was doing that Tonight Show, did not cash one check from NBC while he was doing the Tonight Show for all those decades that he was doing it for. Instead, he was making his money off of his Vegas performances that he would do pretty much every weekend. He'd tape Monday through Friday in Burbank, and then he'd go to Vegas for the weekend, do a couple shows. They'd probably get paid at least maybe $50,000, even then.
Even then, depending on
at least
how many
it's a
tickets
Vegas show
out,
for what, $100 a pop.
Yeah.
To fill an entire room like that in Vegas, oh yeah, dude, easily he's making a few grand a few. And by a few, I mean like there's some extra zeros in there.
Yeah, that just goes to show these guys are on a whole other level of knowing how to game the system.
So Gronk is just like, yeah, I don't have to cash in any of this NFL money. I got my own shit.
He retired early. He retired early, being one of the greatest tight ends of all time, and he's fucking making bank. So that again, that just shows that you don't necessarily need a degree. You just have to have the personality and make it in sports. So that goes on to my next point, because there was also recently a bill passed by the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Think about him what you will. He recently passed a bill called the Fair Pay to Play Act. And what this bill does is the California State Senate passed a SB 206 by 39-0 margin Wednesday after the state assembly previously voted 73-0. So the legislation will go into effect January 1st, 2023, and allow for student athletes at California universities to earn money for the use of their names, images, and likeliness. So they can get paid for TV ads, commercials, they can get endorsements.
Which is about time.
Yes.
If you ask me. They've been really taking advantage of these students who just, for sure, you can see it as like an internship, an unpaid internship. They're getting their experience. They're getting their names out there for them to go into the majors, the freaking professional world. But at the same time, like they're burning a lot of calories for the NCAA to make all this money off of them too.
Yeah, and they're not getting anything. Like most of these students, I heard, like even the best ones, if they don't come from a well-off family, they like just have to live off of whatever their residuals is for lunch. Like I think they said it's like only a couple of hundred, like every 2 weeks that they have for like all their like a stipend or an allowance. So in order to do that, it'd help out some kids, especially some kids from inner cities or from low-income families that were able to make it on a scholarship, but still can't afford to, live or take care of their families. Like that's what you want to do this for. You want to do it for the kid that can't afford that. So but the NCAA is like still strictly against it. They actually wrote a letter to Gavin Newsom asking him to veto the bill, and said that California schools wouldn't be able to participate in NCAA events if SB 206 is signed into law. So
should California call that bluff?
I think they should, man. We're a big enough state, and we're a big enough portion of the market to be able to call that bluff. We're second in the media market right now in the world, I think, in our nation.
So in other words, they'll find a way.
They'll find a way because all it takes is just for one to pass this law. Next, if let's say New York would have passed this, and so on and so on,
they're going to have to be flexible.
You're going to have a domino effect, and then the NCAA will have to be flexible. But it's also a good recruiting ploy for colleges in California to be like to students in outside states, like, hey, look, if you come to California, you can actually work while still being a student.
True.
And still playing. Yeah. So, that's gonna be another factor in their decision making, at least as far as the NCAA wise. But recently, not everyone is happy about this. Apparently, none other than Mr. Tim Tebow had quite a reaction the other day.
Okay.
To this being passed. He pretty much expressed that he thought that it was going to be a me generation. Like it's about me. He said that, he loved playing the game. He understands that some people need to get paid. He's like, I wouldn't take a dime if I played. He understood his likeness, his school jerseys, his jersey being sold, like was the highest paying jersey behind Tom Brady and like Drew Brees, and he couldn't earn a dime off of it. But he said like, I didn't want to, and I don't want to earn a dime because I'm playing for school pride. I'm playing for this and that, and I feel like if I took money, then that's just making it about me. It's not about the team, and I don't think that students getting paid is going to help the college football game.
I don't think getting paid, though, takes any of that away from somebody. And
that is exactly the point that Mr. Des Bryant says to Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
He was not happy about Tim Tebow's comments. He said on Twitter, he's all, "You tripping, Tim Tebow." And then a form letter, he said, Tim Tebow, I have to disagree. I'm going to passionately express this as a person coming from experience. The majority of these kids come from poverty. Trust me, it's not all about me for many of them. It's about putting food on the table in broken homes. What percentage of college athletes actually play at the professional level?
Mm-hmm.
Different circumstances. First generation college student.
Mm-hmm.
Those are his hashtags. So, I mean, he makes a point.
I can see where Tim Tebow's coming from if you've only lived in a world where you've had parents who can support you, who can put food on your table. I think he fails to see the more broad perspective of what the demographic is of guys going into football.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming out of those broken homes. I mean, we hear it all the time. You know, my mom raised me. I had a few other brothers and sisters. I was the oldest. I was the one who had to take care of shit.
Yeah, I was the breadwinner.
Yeah.
You know,
I had to help my mom, or sometimes mom is also gone. So now this kid has to raise his little brothers and sisters in some kind of orphanage situation, foster care, whatever it may be, but he's busting his ass.
Or take, for instance, for example, rookie Raiders running back Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually homeless when he was growing up, and when he was playing at the University of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He was living in his car.
Which, by the way, a lot of students are homeless. They're living out of their cars these days.
Yeah, because they have no choice. The housing in the nation, in the U.S. right now, housing is terrible, and just low income people just are having it rough. So having this, at least in the state of California, is going to help out a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna help out a lot of student, college athletes. And
yeah, I don't know about you, but if at least coming from where I grew up in, if I'm pursuing sports,
La Puente.
yeah, I grew up in La Puente. If I was gonna join sports, it's because I have my eye on a prize that has a $sign on it.
Yeah,
that's my motivation. His motivation was clearly pride. You know,
playing
glory, the name, and that's fine. I could get behind that.
You can do that,
but don't take money away from somebody who clearly deserves it. That's just my perspective. I understand. I get why people disagree. I just disagree
with them disagreeing.
Because I think it's a little one dimensional.
I am completely on your side on this point, Joe. It makes sense, and Tim Tebow reacting this way does show that there is a side. There's a blind spot to this, and there's a blind spot to everything. It is somewhat of a political issue, but not really. It's just being real. So NCAA, get your
picture.
Fucking heads out of your asses and let these kids get some goddamn money, man.
Like, it isn't hard enough and expensive enough to go to college to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I'm in a mountain of debt, and I've only gotten like student loans for like 3 years of college. Yeah. The rest I paid out of pocket. So
I'm just happy. At a young age, I was resourceful enough to fill out scholarship applications. And
you are one smart bastard. Oh man, and I envy you for that.
Yeah,
I do. Envy
I don't have any more debt anymore, so I just had to pay for my books. That's the only thing that came out of pocket. But not everybody's that resourceful, especially when you're focused on football.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, guys? Let's get on to a slightly brighter note. I actually wanted to bring up this podcast I actually recently listened to.
All right.
It's very popular right now. It's on 30 for 30 podcast. Mm-hmm. It's an ESPN podcasting series.
Is it a lot like their documentaries?
Very much so.
Okay.
Like, it even starts off with their "What if I told you?"
Okay.
Like that whole thing. It's great. So the recent 30 for 30 podcast that actually has been so far has been like it's been a hit. It's called The Sterling Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
And it follows pretty much the whole Clippers Donald Sterling, ex-owner Donald Sterling saga. Like, what actually happened? Like, it's a 5-part episode narrated by Ramona Shelburne, who's a reporter for ESPN, a popular reporter for ESPN LA. So this is what the synopsis is so far. This is what the trailer. A story of power and scandal in Los Angeles. When an audio recording of a racist rant by Clippers owner Donald Sterling was leaked online, it caused an uproar that changed the NBA forever. But Sterling had been a problem for decades, in basketball, real estate, and more. Why did it take 30 years to finally hold him accountable? The Sterling Affairs is a 5-part series for from 30 for 30 Podcasts and The Undefeated, produced in collaboration with Western Sound, reported and hosted by ESPN's Ramona Shelburne. All 5 episodes are available as of August 20th.
Oh.
So you can listen to them. They're out, yeah. And they're approximately, the first part's 36 minutes, and then the next 4 range from 43 to about 52 minutes each.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth it. It's like if you guys are cleaning the house or if you're just chilling, smoking a bowl, throw this podcast
on the
series
drive to work, too.
On the drive to work. I actually listened to this on the way up to San Francisco when I went recently with my dad. Like, it's a great series.
Yeah.
And it's very telling as to how fucked up Donald Sterling really was. Like, he was a slumlord. Like, the dude was a legit slumlord in LA. Like,
wow.
They have there's a part in, I think it's in part 3. That's where they focus on the whole property aspect and what he would do. I guess Shelley Sterling, his wife, she would go into one of their complexes and say that she was from the public health department just to go into and search each of the people's apartments and evict them to see if they're doing things wrong.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she would go into it, and like each of the apartments, the maintenance was never upkept. Like, and the rent was like all of a sudden they'd start spiking the rent. Like the whole property aspect was so terrible that the U.S. government had to get involved and sued Donald Sterling.
Wow.
So you can find out more in episode 3, Property. I highly recommend you guys get on this series. It's a great series, and Ramona Shelburne's voice, for those of you that don't listen to ESPN, it's very soothing and very captivating. And it has interviews with ex-Clippers players like Matt Barnes, Ryan Hollins, and Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin actually interviews, and he sits down and talks about an instance when Donald Sterling walked in to the locker room bringing people with him.
Yeah.
And pretty much like going up to him and feeling his arm and saying, "Look at him! Look how strong and muscular
like
and
a buck."
Yeah, look at this young buck, like a slave owner mentality.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
dude, yeah, it was bad.
That's gross.
It's so bad, and it's cringeworthy when you hear it. But it's like good. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is great reporting.
And it sounds, I mean, just based on what you're telling me, I haven't listened to any of these yet, but it just sounds like that just what he is. He was just that guy who really was living back in the 1890s.
Yeah, he it's like, what the fuck? And there's a part in there where they discuss when he purchased the Clippers. And if they were first in San Diego, they were in San Diego for 1 year with him. They were in San Diego for longer before he purchased them. But he pretty much, when he purchased it, he advertised that he was the new owner by saying Clippers new owner and just a big ass billboard of him with the Clippers being very small. Like he was it was just billboards of him all across San Diego. And you could probably ask people who lived in that time, like, hey, do you remember Donald Sterling posters of the Clippers in San Diego? And they'll tell you, oh yeah, those are terrible. Like, it looked like shit. Yeah, it was.
By the way, Josh, I've asked this of many people, and I'm not a sports guy, but I just know things. I just know like useless facts. Do you know what a Clipper is?
Yeah, a ship.
It's a ship.
It's a ship.
That's why they were in San Diego. A lot of people, a lot of Clippers fans don't know this. You could probably ask the entire roster of the Clippers.
Think it was a staple because
I guess.
Clippy?
Probably.
Dude, they should have had Clippy. Damn you, Steve Ballmer.
You
missed an opportunity.
Wow, man.
Dude, bring Clippy back.
Bring Clippy back.
Clippy the
Hashtag.
Clipper. Hashtag bring Clippy back.
Ask
I'm doing you guys a favor.
Ask Microsoft if it was cool.
I mean, dude, I'm sure he can. They just continue Clippy, right?
Yeah.
So he could just bring him back.
Why not? I don't know. Guys? It's probably public domain at this point. Like, and then the Lakers. There's no lakes in Los Angeles, but they didn't come from here. So,
well, come on, man. There's no jazz in Utah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, you're gonna move the team, and really, like, you're not gonna rename them. You're not gonna think about it at least. Really,
the best movie that talks about like teams moving and switching places is Basketball.
Basketball's intro is great.
Intro is amazing, and it brings up this issue how the Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles where they have no lakes. So, Foo, let's finish off sports with some Dodgers.
Some baseball.
Some Doyers.
Yeah, you were talking about what we think the playoff roster might look like in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, man, we're pretty much coming up towards the end. Like
they already won the West.
Mm-hmm. And there's a story behind their celebration in the locker room. Some people are questioning whether they should really celebrate a division win. It's not the championship.
Yeah, it was all over the Dodger Blue group that I belong to on Facebook.
Yeah.
There was a huge debate on that, and some people were just like, well, then let's celebrate everything. Hey, guys, I had a solid bowel movement the other day. Let's celebrate that. Woo!
Actually, you know what? You should celebrate some of those.
You should. I'm sure it doesn't happen so often.
Hey, man, I've had some rough ones, and
Jesus.
a celebration every once in a while would be nice.
With another dump.
Yeah, with a smoother one.
Oh,
Just comes out like water.
Oh, gross.
Anyway, so apparently Rich Hill and Clayton Kershaw, the vets, and I think Justin Turner, they actually just wanted to do a toast.
Oh.
So, rather than do the whole champagne celebration and stuff,
the toast?
They wanted to just do a toast because they've already done like 6 of these. Dude, this is number 7. They're like, but instead,
the pinky out and everything?
Yeah, with the pinky out and everything. Remember, when in doubt, pinky out. Thanks, Patrick. So they wanted to do that instead. Well, they decided actually against it because there's a lot of younger players on the team now.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided, you know what? It's actually pretty kind of a reward for a long ass season in MLB. It's like, dude, you just played 162 fucking games.
Yeah, all we did was watch it from our couch.
Yeah, man.
These guys put in the work. They were eating the fucking sunflower seeds.
They were chewing
the gum.
They were chewing the Starbursts.
Yeah.
And the Skittles and the whatever else goddamn movie snacks.
They had a live action time lapse of a dandelion growing on the right field.
Dude, they got a concession stand in the locker, man.
They put in their fucking work.
And I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean, some of these guys went through injuries. It's just like, dude.
One of them got arrested.
Someone got arrested.
Urias, I'm looking at you, you fucking silly fuck.
Which way is he looking at you, though?
Who knows? Who knows?
Got to get on his right side.
But here's a quick list of who I think are just locks.
Okay,
they're going to make it.
Remember, we can have 25 players. So you can think about it as like them having at least 12 of 12 of each positional and pitching. So let me hear what your positional players would be.
All right, so Bellinger he's locked.
He's locked in.
He's in there.
He's locked in.
And Kike Hernandez, I think, will make it.
So you think Kike will make it?
I think Kike is in there.
Okay.
Russell Martin, and that takes care of a catcher.
Okay.
Jock Peterson, I think, will make that roster. AJ Pollock,
he has to make the roster, man. I mean, for making that much money, dude, he's making 20.
You're wasting him if you don't use him.
You're wasting him if you don't use him.
So he's in there. He's locked,
in
my opinion. Corey Seager will be in there as well with Mr. Fresh Prince, Will Smith, Chris Taylor, and Justin Turner. Those guys are like the core.
Yes.
At least the non-negotiables, in my opinion. What do you think? Now, you made a face during Kike.
So how many was that so far? That was 12?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So 9. Okay, 9. So now let's start thinking of who else. So you said
I left out Muncy, Verdugo, and the rest.
Okay, so Muncy should be in there.
You think so?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think Muncy should be in there. Muncy, he's proven that he can hit.
I think those two, the reason I left them out is because it's unsure if they're going to be healthy.
Well, Muncy just came off the IL.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he just came off the IL, so he's good. He's good to go. So Muncy's stat line right now is 252 batting average, 33 home runs, 87 RBIs, and a 375 on base percentage. And dude, you have to have that production, and especially at first base, he's a good first baseman.
Yeah.
So Muncy at first, Will Smith at center or at catcher. I'm sorry.
Okay.
With Russell Martin behind him, so
now
that's
we have
3.
Two.
That's two
catchers.
Yeah. So that's 2 catchers. So right there, you have 3 players already. You have Justin Turner at 3. You're gonna have Corey Seager. It's gonna be short, and you said Kike Hernandez at second base, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't say second base, but I think he'd be in the
But
core
I'm sorry,
roster.
Kike Hernandez in the roster.
Right.
Okay. So second base, Kike Hernandez can play. So can Chris Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And so can Gavin
These guys
Lux.
are versatile, though.
Yeah.
You can move them around.
You can. That's the beauty of Chris
So they
Taylor.
don't tire out.
Having Chris Taylor and Enrique Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
Even Max Muncy. Muncy can play second, though he's fourth on the depth chart
Yeah.
for second base. There's also that upcoming rookie, Gavin Lux, who's been pretty badass these last few weeks.
Well, if we're talking about 11 people already so far,
Okay, so let's recount.
Cody Bellinger, Kike Hernandez, Russell Martin, Jock Peterson, AJ Paula, Corey Seager, Will Smith, Chris Taylor, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Alex Verdugo. That's the order
11.
I mentioned them. Yeah, that's
Okay,
11.
so then that's 11.
Now,
So,
are you trying to get to 12? Because I was thinking more like a 14, 15.
I was actually thinking they're thinking more of a 13 from what reports are coming out. So
Okay.
so let's think out
There's
who could
leftovers
be the other two. Yeah,
that I
there
didn't
are-
mention.
there are
Now, keep in
leftovers.
mind, we got Barnes, Matt Beatty, David Freese, Jed Giorco. Is that how you say
Yeah,
that?
Jed Giorco and David Freese.
Gavin Lux, which you mentioned. Christopher Negron, Edwin Rios.
Okay, so here I'm going to make my argument for Gavin Lux in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, a lot of people are saying David Freese would make the list, and who else did we say? Jed Giorco
Mm-hmm.
or Matt Beatty potentially would make this list too, because Matt Beatty would be the backup first baseman.
Okay.
Right now, that's what he's slated as. He's slated as a backup first baseman. But I actually would like to argue that instead we add Gavin Lux and take off Kike Hernandez.
I thought that Lux would make it if Muncy was still hurt. That's where my thought process was going.
Yes, if Muncy was still hurt, Lux would have most likely made it. But I don't. Again, we don't know what the roster will be until the next time we record.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just for argument's sake that since Muncy is back, Lux is actually a better second baseman than Kike Hernandez, and he has so far a pretty goddamn good offensive production value. He has 273 in just his limited time. He already has 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in less than a week of him playing.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and Kike is at 240, barely hit 17 home runs, and is at 30 to 40 RBIs right now.
This is and we haven't really touched too much on Giorco, but I don't think he'll make it because according to the stat that I'm looking at, he's 4 for 26 since he was acquired.
Yeah, and I think they were mostly banking on him, seeing how he was maybe later in the season, and because he's that vet, he's on a vet minimum, seeing if he would pan out, and if he wouldn't pan out, then they're just going to remove him from the roster and waive him, and send him down to the minors, or just waive him entirely. So there's still a lot to be seen. There's still potentially 2 moves because pitching, they're only going to keep about 12 pitchers from what I heard.
So let's talk about pitchers now, and this is who I think will be the core pitching team.
Okay.
And again, Rich Hill is a little unhealthy, I understand, right?
He may miss the season.
So there's some hesitation with Hill, as much as I like the guy. But unfortunately, you got Baez in there. Could go figure. Bueller, why not? Jansen has been on and off, but he's going to make it.
Jansen's going to make it.
Joe Kelly.
So how much is that right now?
All right, so far I've said Baez, Bueller, Jansen, Kelly, Kershaw,
that's
Maeda,
5.
Ryu, Urias, and then I left out Hill because he might miss everything.
Hill's questionable, so we'll leave him out for now.
Okay, so we got 8 right there already. I think those are that's the core pitching team.
Dustin May, the rookie, Ginger Guard, or Big Red as he likes to be called.
Yeah.
He may make the roster.
There's a list of them on a bubble right now that may or may not make it.
Okay.
We got Ferguson, Floro, Garcia, Gonsolin, Kolarek, May, as you mentioned, Sadler, and Stripling.
So I heard that potentially Stripling and Gonsolin would make the roster. That they like their production right now. That they're doing pretty well. Ferguson, let's see what his splits are from his last few games. Let's see his last 7. He's only played 7 days. He's only pitched 2 innings. He's allowed 3 hits, 3 runs, and 2 bases on balls and only 3 strikeouts. So he currently has a 13.5 ERA. He will not be making this roster. Like that stat line is not good.
And one thing to consider too is like, who will they be playing when in the playoffs? And had they had any success with those teams if they've had the chance to play with them?
Well, they have to look at who's hot. Who's hot right now? Like the Mets, they actually cooled down. They beat the Mets this last weekend, so thank God. But a team that's scary is still the Nationals. Like, dude, I saw a pitch from Max Scherzer on his curveball. Fucking A, that thing was beautiful. Just like automatic. It just looked seamless. I'm scared to see what he could potentially look like in the playoffs. But so let's say Rich Hill doesn't make the roster. Let's say he's out for the rest of the season. Who would you want to use to replace him? Most likely Maeda would be in there. So were we at 11, Foo, when we were counting?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not saying Rich Hill. My core included just 8.
Okay.
So that left the rest that we were talking about in the bubble. So I'm sure the Dodgers will want to take at least one left hitter. One more left-hander for I'm sorry, not hitter. One more left-hander for the bullpen. So that means that Ferguson or Kolarek would make the team. I'd pick Kolarek, but they're both kind of auditioning for the next 2 weeks.
Let's see what Kolarek had. Ooh, well, not too bad. In his last 7 days, he's only allowed 1 earned run, no strikeouts, and no base on balls. But he did give up a hit, and he had a 9 ERA, but so far for the month of September, he has a 2.7 ERA, and versus the National League, 2.45. So, dude,
I don't see Gonsolin making the team unless Hill remains injured, and I'm probably gonna have to go with Sadler or Stripling.
Okay,
because I don't know, like they're really going for it.
Stripling, I think Stripling most likely would make the roster, only because he's had experience. And he's getting better. Like he's doing well right now. And let's look at his.
And that's also why I brought up who they're actually going to be matched up with and what kind of record these guys have.
Yeah, it's going to be a factor.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that decision. I think the Astros they're going to be tough to beat. They're going to have probably the best overall record.
Either the Astros or the Yankees, man. We're screwed either way.
Currently the Yankees are 97-51. The Astros are 95-53. Dodgers 95-53. Atlanta 91-57. And Minnesota 89-57.
Which, dude, Minnesota surprised the hell out of me. I did not think the Twins were going to be good.
Yeah, they did.
At all. But there you go. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what the roster comes out to. Once we get that final roster, we'll analyze it a little bit, and then we'll see who they could potentially match up against, especially since they will be the number 1 seed in the National League. They will be going up against a wild card team. So that's going to be interesting and fun.
Yep.
Well, Foo, I think we food up this podcast a little bit enough.
All right.
And next time, hopefully, we have the Foo. R.I.P. Foo. No, I'm just kidding. He will be back hopefully next week.
Yeah.
He is on a small mission for the Footopian Empire.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get an update from him.
Yeah.
Well, guys, boobity doobity.